Hey everyone, Caront here, welcoming you back to Tales of the Abyss. In the last episode, we discovered that Luke and Asch look incredibly similar, and that apparently they can talk to each other inside of their brains. We also made our way to the desert oasis, where we found out that Asch and a couple of the other Oracle Knights were going with Ion to the Zao Ruins. We also discovered a search point that is going to be very important to us going forward, and I apparently used Mew Fire, and I changed the battle difficulty to hard because we now have access to that search point. In this episode, I'm starting off in Chesedonia because I want to show you, first off, what we can get from Din's search shop. As we turned in some of those goods earlier, we have more to turn in now. So I want to go ahead and do that and get the weapons that we can procure from that. I will advise, if you do want to do a hard playthrough like what I'm doing now, I would recommend that you try to get as much from this as you can while you are here, because you're not going to have as much access to this area later on, so you'll want to take advantage of it while you can. So what I'm going to do, go ahead and trade in everything, and you notice, yeah, I did a lot of searching, and most of what I found was freaking iron sand, which drove me nuts. But while I've got it, I might as well turn it in and get some money, so let me go ahead and spirit this up here, leaving one of them in the inventory, of course. And then you notice I picked up some basilisk scales, a lot of stuff from this search point, which were mostly relatively common. Honestly, I was a little disappointed with what I got out of it. I don't know how many searches I did precisely, but I did a lot of battling while I was at it. You probably saw my encounter number was up a lot from the end of the last episode. That was largely intentional, because I wanted to make sure that everything was good to go as far as all that went. So now, once we turn all these in, let's go ahead and turn them in and get our money. Thank you very much. Alright, so he mentions we can make a gel in a bottle, which actually I will go ahead and do that because we have a fair amount of money, so I'm going to go ahead and see what that yields with us. Now you'll notice the payments look a little funny. That's because we are doing 2 items at once, so the payments get a little truncated. Now go ahead and give the large payment. You will generally want to do this if you want to make anything. And then all we really need to do is go back in and collect the item that we made. So let's go ahead and see what this yields. This should be pretty good, I think. We got an orange gel, which is good. Not great, but good. Miracle gel's fantastic. Paralysis bottle is eh. Wing bottle is good. We'll need those for dungeons. We actually haven't used one yet, and we haven't really come across one. And I keep hitting the wrong button. I don't know why. The wing bottle, let me go ahead and show you here. The wing bottle teleports a party to the entrance of a dungeon if you have one where there's a save point that you can deploy it. We haven't really come across that just yet because we haven't actually had a wing bottle yet, but we will come across one relatively shortly where you will see that. What I am really here for, though, is to see if I can make weapons out of this, and it looks like I can. I can do... I'm not particularly thrilled with that, or really any of my choices. So, well, this is why I wanted to get more Navametals, because the Navametals, by and large, are good for the swords, the weapons that you can make from this. So when I go into the next dungeon, as I'm just flipping through my choices to see if there's anything better here. As we go through the next dungeon, I am going to be at a bit of a disadvantage in a regular playthrough, or a hard mode playthrough with my weapons. It's not going to be undoable, but as I go into the Zao Ruins, and especially as I get toward the end, it's not going to be easy, let's just say. I have set myself quite the challenge, so those of you who are wanting to see me challenge myself and make myself a little bit crazier, you guys pretty much just got it, I think. So at any rate, now that we've gotten done with that, and we haven't quite achieved what I wanted to, but I will work on that probably off camera, we will go ahead and head out of here. And I am actually going to, once I leave Chesedonia, I will see you guys on the other side right about when we get to the Zao Ruins. Because we've already roamed around in the desert, and I've pretty much taken care of everything I want to there. But I will see you guys over in the Zao Ruins so that we can go ahead and get this party started. Alrighty guys, I am back here by the Zao Ruins, and I wanted to show you on the map where this was. Basically, if we zoom in here, not too badical, you'll notice the Zao Ruins is southeast, good god, southeast of the desert oasis, and the search point. Here's the search point, southeast of the search point, and east of the desert oasis. So here it is. Chesedonia, of course, is over there. So this is pretty much where we are. Let's go ahead and head in to the Zao Ruins, see what we can find, hopefully an ion. Welcome to the very stark landscape of the Zao Ruins. Kind of barren, don't you think?
That's gotta be it. Inside here, huh?
It looks dark inside. I'll breathe fire!
You're gonna keep breathing fire the whole time? That'll never work.
Perhaps it's because of the wind, but there aren't any landship tracks about.
Have they already left, or are they still inside?
Whatever the case, there could be clues about ions, so let's go.
Okay, well, fair enough. Let's go ahead and head in. This is not a particularly complicated spot. The closest dungeon we've really come to one where I've needed a lot of navigation was one of the earlier ones. We're not going to need it here too particularly much. It's pretty straightforward. There is one thing that we are going to be getting out of this dungeon, though, that we'll very much need for later on. And we will run across it in a little bit. It's not going to be too long. But first off, we'll probably run into some enemies while we are gallivanting about here, including yon bats, which, for whatever reason, decide they want to fly around us until they finally hit. They are the Earth Bats, so let's go ahead and get their vital stats up and all that good stuff. The Earth Bats, you notice, higher in terms of magic attack, although they are primarily physical. I've always found that to be a little bit odd, but oh well, I mean, I'll take it. Once we get out of this battle, I do want to show you a couple of other things that I did discover or learn character-wise while I was doing my extra fighting, and I want to shift a couple things around, but I want to show you what they are.
Just stay dead.
Oh, well, okay, well, we got something else. So Annis did some learning, and we cooked some chicken. Yay! All right, now, what I want you to see. All right, first off, we learned some ad skills basically in the times between the last episode and this one. One of them is Taunt, which you can use to try to raise your overlimit gauge if you have a free moment, basically. We also didn't learn anything with Luke, but you see we've got it with Tyr. Tyr also knows critical magic, which could help out immensely if she is casting a offensive spell. Then you've got Void Magic, and you notice it'll keep her from staggering usually. Lucky Soul recovers TP when knocked to the ground, which is obviously useful for a magic caster. Then, let's see, I don't think Guy learned... Yeah, he did. Alright. Square, you notice with Comeback, will actually get him up faster, and then he can attack during the recovery, which is always good, especially if he gets knocked on his tailbone. Item Rover helps stealing, which is going to begin to come into play here. Let's see, I keep coming out of the character menus, I don't know why. Let's see, nothing special for Jade. Now, what I found curious was one that I found for Annis. Void Magic removes the stagger, we've already seen that, I think. Resist will prevent status effects, but the one that was really interesting to me is Life Up. You can gain max HP after battle on occasion, and the game will tell you when you do. I found it curious because basically it's a feature of Annis's capacity core, which is one of the two in the game right now that has enhancement. So what that means is she is going to be getting those effects before Luke or Tyr or hardly anybody else. Because, well, I don't think anybody else has well, never mind. There's only, Luke's got one with enhancement, but Annis is the only other one that does. So I found it curious that she learned that before he did. One other thing that I will also mention is I got a new art or two, especially for Luke, while I was roaming around. And the one that I'm going to go ahead and equip is Fangblade Havoc. It is really good. I like using it. Basically, Fangblade Havoc is my favorite, just straight out art attack in the game. I equip it to my main slot and I keep it there throughout the rest of the game. So, I mean, honestly, depending on how you play it, of course, is going to determine how you set up your character. But that's the way I like to do mine, and I find Fangblade Havoc to be very, very useful. Alright, looks like we got another new enemy lurking around here, so let's go ahead and, well, address him. And that is the Earth Spirit, which, let me go ahead, of course, and pop up his stats. The Earth Spirit, as you might imagine, is much more defensive in nature. You notice the magic and physical defenses are pretty high. The magic and physical attacks are also pretty high as well. Now, one thing I will mention that I haven't gotten around to mentioning yet with hard mode is hard mode increases every enemy's stats by 50%. So basically, whatever HP, whatever magic, whatever defense, or what have you that an enemy would have had is up by 50% because they are in hard mode. Now you notice this is not that big of a deal for your average enemy, I mean whoop-de-doo for most of them, but the big deal comes when we get to the bosses, and that is, well, why I'm going to be at a bit of an advantage, disadvantage rather, when we fight the boss in this area. Slight spoiler alert, I guess, we have a boss in the area. 3 guesses who it is. But yeah, we will be fighting a boss, and it's going to be a little rough for yours truly because I do not have the weaponry I was sort of counting on having when I usually come in here. So, alright, new enemy, let me go ahead and confront him. This is a reskin of the ones that we saw in Coral Castle. These ones are the Caster and the Desgoyle. I have no idea where that name came from. Let's go ahead and pop the Caster up here first. It's your typical table enemy, resistant to physical, as always. And then, alright, let's see. Nope, not quite yet. As Luke gets thwacked upside the head. Go ahead and do the information for... Come on. Hello? Can I do the Desgoyle, please? Please? I guess not. Alright. I might have to do that in a minute whenever they separate. Alright, now let's try it. Come on, Desgoyle. There we go. Desgoyle is a ton of HP, so you definitely want to be careful with him. I'm going to try to take out the table first just to eliminate as many enemies coming at us. You notice there's Fangblade Havoc. It is basically a combination of Fangblade and Havoc Strike. Very useful, especially because it strings all those attacks together and is really good at destabilizing an enemy if you want to try to do something like that, which obviously you're going to want to. Holy crap. Alright, we're about to die. This is definitely not good. Healing Circle, thank you. Oh, Lord. I did not think I was going to get down quite that low, but you notice this is pretty much going to be a symbol of things to come. I'm going to be using a lot more in terms of healing items. I'm going to be doing a lot more in terms of physical preparation. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I'm also, silly me, I shouldn't have been using my apple gels. I'm also going to be utilizing the services of whichever healer is outside of the party at that time, whether it's Tyr or Natalia. I'm going to be using their services because we will desperately, desperately need it. Alright, now, we come out here, and you'll actually want to head south first, because south is where we find the, well, not item exactly, but where we find what we are supposed to pick up, basically in order to be able to go through this dungeon and fulfill the puzzles and the tasks that it needs us to fulfill. We skip past the Earth Spirit here, and we find, well, whatever that is.
What's that?
Luke, it's dangerous to approach it carelessly.
But it's beautiful. It doesn't look like something dangerous.
Well, well, what have we here?
Second phonons! What? How come we can see phonons?
They must be quite concentrated here. This area is likely a phone slot.
I still don't really understand what phonons are.
Every structure and living thing has its own intrinsic vibration and emits a corresponding sound. Those are divided into 6 phonons. Tiny differences in their vibration and connections distinguish individual matter.
They're one of the basic elements that compose matter. You're made up of phonons and elements.
It's rare to find so much of a single phonon bonded together that it becomes visible like this.
By the way, Mew, what are you doing? I'm letting the sorcerer's ring soak up the phonons. The elder told me that if the ring soaks up phonons, it'll grow stronger.
Stronger, huh?
So, how's it feel? Mew! I can feel the power. Well, a little. Kind of, I think.
What's that supposed to mean? What a waste of time.
Mew! Mew, mew, mew! Mew!
stronger sorcerer's ring must grant its wearer new power.
Mew, please let me see the sorcerer's ring.
Okay.
I see.
What is it?
The crystallized phonons must have carved the ring. There are letters engraved into it.
Letters? What's it say?
It's a phone verse. This must be what's granting Mew's new power.
There was something written on that ring before, wasn't there?
That's probably the 5th phonon power that Mew's been using so far. The newly engraved phone verse has given him a new phonic art.
A new power!
Shut up already, thing.
Looking at the ring, it appears there's space for another phone verse to fit.
Really? Then if we find another cluster of phonons, let's give it a try. I'm going to work really hard and be even more useful.
With that, Mew officially learns Mew Attack. And it basically tells us how to switch between the different capabilities so that Mew can, well, destroy things. This is going to be our gimmick pretty much for this dungeon. And I'll go ahead and show you. You pull up the menu with R2, you can basically switch in between them as you need them. Of course, now I'm on Mew Fire, and now I'm on Mew Attack. The Mew Attack is what we are going to use by and large in here, and this dungeon pretty much is set out to make use of that. With that taken care of, we can go ahead and move forward here and hurry to Exariuth. Although it's a little unusual that we're getting sidetracked here. Alright, next new enemy is... oh boy, these things. The Lesser Pans. Now, these guys come in numbers, so if you are fighting in a hard playthrough, this could prove to be a little bit difficult, mostly because they can just mass you. Now, these Lesser Pans actually are an enemy you want to watch out for if you're going through here, because you can steal, once we get the ability to steal, which we will at the end of this dungeon, you can steal an item from these guys that you will need for a side quest later on. So keep an eye out for that. We don't really need it quite yet because we can't steal from them yet. But once we can, keep an eye out for those guys. And wow, I got lucky there. The other item actually went ahead and dropped. That is the rock. If you get one of these in the dungeon, be sure to hang on to it. Do not give it to Den, because that is the other item you will need for that side quest. So wow, I kind of got away with that one, I think. Now we can continue moving forward, and I think we got a little scene coming up in just a moment. So I will run up here and then shut my mouth.
Stupid boulders are in the way. Hey, thing, use that power you got earlier to break these.
Yes, Master.
Pretty much just saying, hey, well, walk up closer and then do it.
Whoa! The poor thing. Mew, doesn't that hurt?
It's a phonic art, right? He's fine.
Luke, I'm asking Mew. I'm fine. Thank you for worrying about me. You're so nice, Natalia.
Yes, you could stand to learn a thing or two from her.
Shut up. Come on, hurry up.
Though he's already similar in this regard.
Similar to who?
To Natalia, I assume.
Well, I never. Stop dawdling and get moving.
I never have figured out exactly what those dancing symbols are. Oh crap. Hello, bats. No, I don't want to fight you. Go away. Okay, well, you did go away. All right. But I never have figured out what those dancing symbols mean. Let me grab the treasure. Breast guard, which I think is going to be good for Tyr, I believe. Yes, it's definitely good for Tyr. Okay. Well, nice. And then move around through here. All we really need to do is just continue forward. Now, once we get across this bridge, well, we get to fight more bats. Yay! The only bad thing, really, about using the Fangblade Havoc in your attacks is it costs so many art points. You notice it's 16 TP, and Luke doesn't have more than about 100. Well, I was going to say more than 150. He has exactly 150. Nice. So, yeah, you'll want to be careful in regards to usage of that. Let's see. Okay, yeah, here's the treasure. And a memorable character is... Alright, story about the Zao Ruins. Not too particularly important at the moment. One thing I am going to do, as I play through, especially in hard mode, is I'm going to save at every save point. I've been trying to not save in the middle of a playthrough before, just to make sure, just in case stuff messed up or what have you. This time though, definitely, because otherwise, yeah, it could get ugly. Just saying. Hello, Earth Spirits. I don't really want to fight you right now. I may do so, I don't know, off camera or what have you. Alright, Panacea Bottle. We've got other treasure. We've got another treasure up top, I know that. And we definitely want to get this treasure. Although we get that in the way, big whoop. You definitely want to pick this up because this is Stray Forte, which is another capacity core. Take a look at this capacity core with loot, and you see it is focused almost entirely on physical attack, with 1 point toward phonic attack. It is something that's probably better off in the hands of, say, Natalia or Annis. And actually, I will go ahead and switch Annis over to that. Well, if I could move over to Annis, there we go. I will go ahead and switch Annis over to Stray Forte, and I am going to switch, let's see, who do I want for Esprit? Because I want somebody to be getting enhancement. Let me see, let me look and see who's got the least phonic defense right now. It is, well, Luke by a good bit, but he's already got a capacity core on that has enhancement, so I don't really want to do that. I will give it to Guy. He's already got pretty decent agility. I think he needs to focus a little bit more on some other areas, so that'll work. Now I just remembered I was kind of looking at the wrong statistic, but alright, that's fine. Got one more new enemy here. Well, two new enemies actually, the Pan and the Great Pan. Let me go ahead and pull them up, of course. We're starting to run low on magic ones, I need to resupply. The Great Pan is, well, pretty stinking big, and you notice he's pretty slow too. I'm gonna go ahead and shift my attention to Pan himself, because you notice with that big old tuning fork that he's got, he is a magic caster, so you definitely want to be careful. And I definitely need to be, oh god, back in, there we go. Oh, good. I wasn't sure if she was doing first aid or healing circle, so yeah, I wanted to make sure I didn't get my butt kicked on that one. Alright, our Pan here is pretty much a mix between the lesser Pans, which are smaller, with obviously much less in terms of health, or bigger in regards to the Great Pan, but also very slow. The regular Pan is a mix between the two, and in some ways is the most dangerous one to deal with, because the Great Pan you can pretty well roam around and be okay. The lesser Pans you can take out quickly. This one, not so much, so definitely be careful in regards to that. Alrighty, I think we've taken care of most all of the unique enemies in here, so from here on out the battles should be getting truncated, I believe. I don't think we've got all that much further in this place either, except to watch these ruins slowly fall apart. That's not really going to become terribly problematic as we go through. Okay, let's see. I think treasure is up this way, I believe. Let's see. Am I remembering correctly? Yes, you just can't see it. Wait, I could have sworn there was treasure up here. Just couldn't see it on the camera. Oh yeah, there it is. Hi. I knew there was something up there, I just couldn't quite find it. You notice the life bottle we got, of course. Life bottles are going to become a real premium as we play through, especially in hard mode, because the enemies in hard mode can kill you really fast. We will see this especially when we get to the bosses a little bit later on. So, yeah, definitely hang on to all the healing items you can get, buy all of them that you need, and go from there. We picked up Carmine Chamber. I actually am going to go ahead. Oh, I already did put red on Fangblade Havoc. Okay. Now, you notice the blue one we have as well. I don't really want to use that quite yet. I got to make up my mind exactly how I am going to use it. So I'll hang on to it for the moment. Alright, kill you! Like I said, this dungeon is pretty much set up to explicitly detail Mew attack as a battle strategy. Well, we got 2 levels up out of that one, which is nice. Tyr and Luke both leveled up. Now this one is a Cobalt Chamber, which you'll definitely want to hang on to. In these battles here, you will definitely want to play smart. You'll definitely want to focus a lot on free run. and on trying to guard and avoid attacks if at all possible. You really need to be doing that anyway, but a hard run makes that even more explicit in regards to defensive tactics that you can take. Yes, of course, the name of the game in a Tales game is to kill your enemies quickly, but it also doesn't hurt if you leave yourself some breathing room while you're doing it. Alright, let's see. We are at a healing save point, you'll notice. Of course, that is gaming code for big stuff coming up. And I'm actually going to go ahead and leave things off here. So, next time on Tales of the Abyss, we are going to make our way to the end of the Zao Ruins, which are not all that far away from here, and see if we can rescue ourselves Phone Master Ion. So thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see y'all later.